Today on our 2008 Nissan Frontier, we're going to be taking a look at and showing you how to install the Curt T connector vehicle wiring harness with 7-way trailer connector, part number C56226. So here's what our wiring looks like when it's fully installed. It's going to give us a 7-way at the back of our vehicle, and it's going to give us all the required lights and functions that come with the 7-way, including reverse lights, brake lights, turn signals, and clearance lights, as well as the option to power a brake controller if we have one installed. It's going to feature a spring-loaded dust cover to help keep out some of the moisture and debris, as well as a gasket on the inside of the cover to provide it a little bit more protection. Now, installing this is pretty straightforward. It is a 2-piece harness. One section is going to connect back here at the frame rail, and then one section is going to be connecting in the cab of our truck on the passenger side. Let's show you how we got it on. Now, to begin our installation, we're going to need to come to the back of our vehicle, and on the driver's side, we're going to come up to the frame rail just right behind our bumper. We're going to have 2 connectors here, one with 6 pins and one with 2 pins. Now, we're going to need to remove the covers off of both of these. So if we come to the 2-pin one, we can push in on the tab right there, and that should release the cover, and we can pull it out. Now, on the gray connector here, now we can go ahead and pull straight down, which will release it from the tab holding it on the frame rail. Then you can take a small flathead screwdriver or whatever you have available to help push on that tab, maybe give you a little bit of extra leverage trying to get it to unlock. You can slide it back up and it'll hold it in place. Now, if we look at our harness, we're going to have that 6-pin and that 2-pin connector. Now, before I plug them in, I'm going to take a little bit of dielectric grease, and that's going to help keep out some of the dirt and debris and any of the moisture buildup inside the connector and help prevent some of corrosion from happening. So we can just put a little bit in our connectors, and then we can plug them in, making sure that they lock into place. Now, for right now, I'm going to leave my harness sitting here because we're going to need to go to the inside of the cab on the passenger side. Now, we're going to need to remove this threshold panel here, so then we can gain access to the kick panel back here. So I'm just going to slightly start pulling away on the panel to pop it loose, and we can go ahead and set it aside. Now, in order to remove our kick panel, we're going to have a fastener right here. And ours is a little loose, but we're going to go ahead and unthread it by turning it to the left. Now, if yours isn't that loose, you can take a flathead screwdriver and put it in the slot in the center. So we can take our panel and just kind of twist and pull away, and the clip right here at the top and bottom should pop out. Now, behind here, we're going to have a lot of wiring harnesses and connectors. Now, we're going to be looking for the 12-pin connector that's going to go inside this end of our harness. Now, most of the time, if you reach back where most of your wires are, it'll be right there, right here, behind a lot of the other harnesses. Now, before we connect this, we're going to take the relays that they provided in our kit. We're going to have 2 blue ones and one rather large brown one. Now, the brown one, we're going to connect to the brown end on the other end of our harness. We're just going to line up the pins and put them in place. We're going to make sure it locks into place, and then we can do that for the other blue relays. We're just going to line up, and these relays are the same. We're not going to have to worry about which one is which. We're just going to line up the pins on our relay and connect them in place. With our relays in place, we can go ahead and find our connector, and we can plug it in. We can take our harness and all the relays, and we're going to actually tuck all of this behind everything else, and this is going to stay behind the panel that we just removed. And if you need to, the kit does provide you with some zip ties so you can tie your harness up. But I think we'll be able to tuck everything in nicely, and it'll be hidden behind the panel to where we won't need it. Just line up the tabs on our panel here. Pop it back in place. and replace the fastener. And we can line up the tabs on our kick panel here. Now we're going to need to hook up our connector to our socket, but we're going to need to mount our 7-way. So in our application, we're going to be using this 7-way mounting bracket here. And you can pick one of these up on our website using part number PK12711U. Now, fortunately, we also have a spot to mount our bracket on our hitch. Now, if you don't have one of these built in on your hitch, we do have a wide variety of brackets that'll mount to your hitch. So we can take the hardware included in our kit and mount our 7-way socket to our bracket. Now, before we plug our connector in the back of our socket, I'm going to take a little bit of dielectric grease. I'm going to put it in my connector, and then we can just plug it into the back of our socket, make sure that it locks into place, and all we have to do is tie up our excess wires. Final step is going to be testing our connection and make sure everything's working properly. So I'm going to grab an extra set of hands, and I'm going to have them run my lights so I can make sure that they are working. All right, can we have the headlights, please? Okay, we can see those are working. Now the left turn signal. Now the right turn signal. Now the brakes. And finally the brakes and both turn signals. Looks like everything's working properly and we're ready to hit the road. And that'll finish up our look at the Curt T connector vehicle wiring harness with 7-way trailer connector, part number C56226 on our 2008 Nissan Frontier.
Click the link below to shop, learn more, or visit us at eTrailer.com.